You think you know what dangerous looks like. Claws. Fangs. Battle scars. The kind of creature that announces its lethality from across a room. But, what if I told you the most terrifying thing I've ever witnessed was a small human female, barely reaching my shoulder, who collected pressed flowers and hummed old earth melodies while cataloging botanical specimens? What if I told you that same harmless creature made an entire HFY strike team warriors bred for nothing but killing, retreat in absolute terror? What if I told you it had nothing to do with weapons, tactics, or technology, and everything to do with something living beneath her skin that had been waiting decades to wake up? My name is Zeth Cole, Senior Intelligence Analyst for the Galactic Defense Corps. I've spent 12 cycles studying human psychology, behavioral patterns, threat assessments. I thought I understood them. I was wrong. This is the story of Dr. Sarah Chen, xenobotanist. 43 years old. Vegetarian. Never missed a thank you note. The kind of human who apologized to furniture when she bumped into it. And, the day her tiger tattoo opened its eyes and remembered what it used to be. Duration, 47 standard minutes from first contact to planetary evacuation order. Classification, Eyes Only, HFY Incident Report 2387.4, Personal Note, I still can't drink HFY tea. The smell reminds me of her humming. What you're about to hear will redefine everything you thought you knew about human potential. About the creatures they call extinct. About the things that sleep in their genetic memory, waiting. Part 1 begins now. Timeline, 0800 to 1200 Standard, Research Station Kepler 438b, my claws tap against my datapad. Always have. Drives my colleagues insane, but it's how I think. Tap tap pause. Tap tap pause. The rhythm helps me process the endless stream of human behavioral data that crosses my desk. Today's assignment, Dr. Sarah Chen. Routine threat assessment for her transfer to the Joint Research Station orbiting HFY space. Standard procedure: humans working near the border zones get evaluated. Most are cleared within hours. Her file reads like a sleep aid. Born Terra Colony 7. PhD in xenobotany from New Cambridge. Specializes in extinct Earth flora reconstruction. Published 47 papers on cellular memory in plant tissue. Volunteers at animal shelters. Sends her mother flowers every week without fail. Most exciting incident on record: accidentally stepped on a colleague's toe during a faculty meeting. Brought homemade cookies to apologize. I lean back in my station chair, watching the security feed from her temporary quarters. She's humming again. Always humming. These soft, lilting melodies she claims are ancient Earth songs passed down through her family. The translator struggles with the language, something called Mandarin mixed with what the database identifies as Celtic influences. Dr. Chen sits cross-legged on her bunk, a pressed flower collection spread before her. Each specimen preserved between sheets of bioglass, labeled in her careful handwriting. Rose petals from her grandmother's garden. Jasmine from a monastery in the Tibetan preserve. Apple blossoms from the last orchard in Old California. Dead things, perfectly preserved. She lifts one specimen, a vibrant orange flower I don't recognize, and holds it to the light. Her voice carries through the audio pickup, soft and reverent, marigolds for remembrance. That's what grandmother always said. Some things should never be forgotten. Tap tap pause. Tap tap pause. The woman is 43 standard years. Never married. No children. Lives alone in a research pod on Kepler station with 17 varieties of Earth tea and a collection of what humans call comfort objects: soft textiles in faded colors, ceramic figures of extinct Earth animals, books made of actual paper. Her psychological profile reads: extreme empathy. Possible overattachment to past/deceased subjects. Recommendation: monitor for depression indicators. No security concerns. I'm about to close her file when something catches my eye. A small notation in her medical records, added just last week. Patient reports recurring dreams of running through forests that no longer exist. Recommends mild sleep aid. No underlying psychological factors detected. Below that, a dermatological note, patient concerned about changes in skin pigmentation around decorative marking, see attached image. Assured normal aging process. No medical intervention required. Decorative marking. Humans and their art. I access the attached image. The breath catches in my thoracic chambers. Sprawling across her left shoulder blade is the image of a creature I recognize from my xenobiology studies. Orange and black stripes. Powerful haunches. Predator's eyes. A Terran tiger, one of their apex predators, extinct for over 2 centuries. But it's not the tattoo itself that stops my thinking processes. It's the quality of the image. The detail work isn't ink and pigment like standard human body art. Under the medical scanner's enhancement, I can see individual muscle fibers, hair follicles, the microscopic structure of whiskers, and something else. Something that makes my secondary heart skip. The cellular activity readings are active. Not dormant pigment cells. Active biological processes. I tap my claws faster. Access the classification database. Cross-reference Terran tigers with human genetic modification programs. The results make my bioluminescent patches flicker with stress patterns. Project Lazarus. Classified. Genetic memory resurrection protocols. Subjects, volunteer humans with strong ancestral connections to extinct Terran fauna. Method, implantation of engineered cellular clusters containing reconstructed genetic material. Goal, preservation of extinct species through symbiotic host integration. Status, discontinued 2381 due to uncontrolled activation events. Survivors, classified. I feel my manipulator appendages go cold. Project Lazarus. I've heard whispers in the intelligence community. Humans playing with genetic memory. Trying to bring back their lost creatures through living hosts. The reports were disturbing. Test subjects who claimed they could feel their extinct partners awakening. Enhanced reflexes. Predatory instincts. Behavioral changes that made the ethics board shut down the program. Most hosts had the cellular implants removed. Most. I access Dr. Chen's background again, this time with security clearance Omega 7. Her family history loads in fragments. Parents, classified. Grandparents, partially classified. Great-grandmother, Dr. Line Chen, geneticist, Project Lazarus Advisory Board. Great-grandmother who, according to the records, specifically requested her descendants be monitored for cellular activation events related to Tiger 7 integration protocols. Dr. Chen isn't just a botanist with a tattoo. She's a walking genetic resurrection project. And something is changing in her cellular structure. I watch the security feed with new eyes. She's still humming, but now I notice things I missed before. The way she moves, too fluid for a human her age. The way her head tilts when she hears sounds in the station corridors, like she's tracking movement through walls. Most unsettling, the way she periodically reaches back to touch her shoulder blade, unconsciously, like scratching an itch that won't go away. The flower collection spreads before her like a memorial. Each specimen a ghost of Earth's lost biodiversity. Marigolds for remembrance. Her grandmother's words. Some things should never be forgotten. My claws tap erratically now. I need to file a report. Recommend immediate medical evaluation. But something stops me. In all my cycles studying humans, I've learned one thing above all others: they surprise you when you least expect it. Dr. Chen picks up another specimen. A small white flower I don't recognize. Her humming shifts to a different melody, sadder, deeper. The translator identifies fragments: sleeping tigers, dreaming tigers, when will you wake again? An old earth lullaby, passed down through generations. Through the audio pickup, I hear her whisper, "I can feel you stirring, old friend. Been so long since you ran through forests that no longer exist." She touches her shoulder blade again. This time, I swear I see something shift beneath her skin. A muscle contraction. Too organized for random nerve firing. Too purposeful for coincidence. In my 12 cycles of human psychological analysis, I've never filed an urgent threat report. Dr. Sarah Chen, xenobotanist and flower collector, is about to become my first. But, as I reach for the emergency communication array, alarms begin wailing throughout the station. Not our alarms. Proximity alerts. HFY ships have just dropped out of hyperspace, heading directly for our position. Dr. Chen's head snaps up with inhuman speed, tracking the sound like prey-sensing predators. For just a moment, her reflection in the bioglass specimen cases shows something impossible. Vertical pupils. Golden and burning. The flowers scattered before her suddenly seem less like a memorial and more like offerings to something that's been sleeping far too long. My threat assessment just became irrelevant. The HFY are here. And, Dr. Sarah Chen is no longer alone in her skin. End Part 1, next, Part 2 First Contact and The Scent of Fear, Timeline, 1200 to 1600 Standard. During HFY boarding action, the HFY don't knock. Their boarding pods punch through our station's hull with the subtlety of a meteor strike. Emergency bulkhead slams shut. Atmosphere hisses through microfractures. The lights flicker to emergency amber, and, suddenly, the research station Kepler 438b feels very small and very far from home. I'm still at my monitoring station when the first HFY warrior appears on the security feeds. 2.5 meters of scaled muscle and bioengineered killing instinct, bred in hatchery ships for one purpose: breaking things efficiently. They're not here for research data or territorial negotiations. They're hunting. Through my headset, I hear Station Commander yell toss barking orders: all civilian personnel to secure quarters. Military personnel to defensive positions. This is not a drill. Repeat, HFY boarding parties active in sections C through G. I switch camera feeds frantically, tracking the invasion's progress. Section C, 6 warriors moving in perfect formation. Section D, blast doors being carved open like tissue paper. Section F, our security team falling back in barely controlled retreat. Section G, where Dr. Chen is quartered. My claws find their familiar rhythm against the console. Tap tap pause. Tap tap pause. Stress response. I need to focus. Document the incursion for intelligence analysis. That's my job. But I can't stop watching the feed from her quarters. Dr. Chen sits exactly where I left her, cross-legged on her bunk. Flowers spread before her like she's performing some ancient ritual. The proximity alarms scream through the station. Emergency lights bathe everything in hellish amber. The deck plates vibrate with the impact of HFY plasma cutters. She's still humming. The melody is different now. Older. Something primal in its cadence that makes my translation software struggle with fragments. Tiger burning bright, in the forests of the night. Her hand rests on her shoulder blade. Fingers tracing patterns I can't see. Section G corridor feeds show the first HFY warrior rounding the corner. 3 meters of pure predator, plasma rifle held casual as breathing. Behind him, 2 more. They move like they own the universe. HFY don't take prisoners. Their breeding programs eliminated concepts like mercy or restraint. They catalog resources, eliminate threats, and move on. Dr. Chen should be terrified. Should be screaming, hiding, trying to find an escape route. Instead, she carefully closes her flower collection and sets it aside. Almost time, she whispers to herself. Or to something else. Almost time to remember who we used to be. The warriors reach her door. Standard HFY breach protocol, plasma charge, 3-second countdown, overwhelming force. Through the security feed, I watch the door dissolve into superheated metal vapor. They pour through the opening in perfect formation. And stop. Not tactical positioning. Not threat assessment. They stop because something is wrong with the air in that room. The lead warrior's head tilts. Nostrils flaring. His weapon wavers for the first time in his genetically programmed existence. Dr. Chen stands slowly, still facing away from them. Her humming never stops, but now it carries harmonics that make my fur stand on end. The melody shifts into something that bypasses conscious thought and goes straight to hindbrain survival protocols. "Can you smell it?" she asks without turning around. Her voice is unchanged, still soft, still gentle. Still the woman who apologized to furniture. The Kethvar warriors exchange glances. They don't speak standard well, but predators understand the tone of another predator regardless of language. "Smell what, human?" The lead warrior's voice carries the artificial bass enhancement their military uses for psychological warfare. Dr. Chen finally turns to face them. Her eyes reflect the emergency lighting like mirrors. "Fear," she says simply. "Your fear." The impossible thing, she's right. Through my advanced sensor array, I can detect the biochemical changes in the Kethvar warriors. Elevated stress hormones. Increased cardiac rhythms. The involuntary physiological responses of prey animals faced with an apex predator. They don't understand why they're afraid. Neither do I. Dr. Chen is 1.6 meters tall. Weighs maybe 60 kilograms. Has no weapons, no armor, no military training. She should be terror-frozen or already dead. Instead, she takes a step forward. The three warriors take a step back. "This is interesting," she says, and her voice carries a purr that wasn't there before. "I've read about your species in the xenobiology databases. Bred for fearlessness. Genetic modifications to suppress flight responses. Perfect killing machines." Another step forward. Another step back. "But you can still smell it, can't you?" That scent that says, wrong. That says, run. That says, this creature is not prey. I watch the lead warrior's weapon hand tremble. Almost imperceptible, but my sensors catch it. Dr. Chen reaches up and pulls her shirt over her head in one fluid motion. The Kethvar warriors recoil like she's drawn a weapon. Across her back, the tiger tattoo moves. Not shifts. Not appears to move. Moves. Muscles bunching. Head turning. Eyes opening. Eyes that glow like molten gold in the emergency lighting. "She's been sleeping for so long," Dr. Chen says, and now her voice carries two tones. Human and something else. Something that makes the deck plates vibrate with subsonic frequencies. Dreaming of forests that no longer exist. Of prey that no longer runs. Of hunts that ended too soon. The tattoo's head lifts from her skin. Literally lifts. Three-dimensional. Corporeal. A living creature's head emerging from human flesh like it's surfacing from deep water. The Kethvar warriors' weapons clatter to the deck. Apex predators, genetically programmed for fearlessness, reduced to terror-paralyzed prey by something that should be impossible. "But she's awake now," Dr. Chen whispers, and her reflection in the metal wall shows something that is no longer entirely human. And she remembers what tigers were for. The creature emerging from her skin opens its mouth and roars. The sound bypasses my audio pickups and goes straight to the station's superstructure. Metal groans. Atmosphere shimmers. Every living thing in a 50-meter radius feels their bones resonate with a frequency that says, "You're prey." The Kethvar warriors flee. Bred for fearlessness, trained for violence, equipped for slaughter. They flee like herbivores escaping a forest fire. Through the corridor feeds, I watch three of the galaxy's perfect killing machines sprint for their boarding pods with biochemical terror flooding their systems. Dr. Chen, or the thing she's become, follows at a walk. Casual. Unhurried. The way predators move when they know their prey can't escape. Her back rides as more of the tiger emerges. Shoulders. Forequarters. A creature made of living light and genetic memory, riding in human skin like it belongs there. Like it always belonged there. Behind her, the pressed flower collection lies scattered on the deck. Marigolds for remembrance. Apple blossoms from extinct orchards. Rose petals from dead gardens. Offerings to something that refused to stay extinct. Through my headset, Station Commander Yeltos' voice, all units, report status. Kethvar forces appear to be retreating? Confirm, are they retreating? Tap tap pause. Tap tap pause. I should answer. Should coordinate the station's response. Should document what I'm witnessing for the intelligence databases. Instead, I watch Dr. Sarah Chen hunt the hunters through corridors that suddenly feel like ancient forests. And I finally understand why Project Lazarus was shut down. It wasn't because they couldn't bring extinct creatures back to life. It was because they succeeded. End Part 2. Next, Part 3, The Hunt in Hallowed Halls, Timeline, 1600 to 2000 Standard, Active Pursuit Phase, Kethvar don't retreat. It's bred out of them at the genetic level. Their military doctrine has no contingency for withdrawal because their warriors aren't capable of the concept. Until today. I watch through the station's security grid as 3 perfect killing machines sprint through corridors like their ancestors fled the great dying on their homeworld. Their plasma rifles abandoned. Their formation broken. Their terror sense so thick it's triggering atmospheric recycling alerts. Behind them, Dr. Sarah Chen walks with the patience of geological time. The thing on her back has fully emerged now. A Siberian tiger, massive beyond the scale that ever walked Earth's surface. Its body seems to exist halfway between memory and flesh, translucent orange fire shot through with black stripes that shift like living shadow. It doesn't track the fleeing warriors with its eyes. It tastes their fear through the recycled air. Station Command to Intelligence Division, Commander Yeltos's voice crackles through my headset. Seth Cole, I need immediate analysis. What the bleeding void is happening down there? I try to form words. Professional assessment. Clinical observation. The kind of report that fills databases and informs policy. Sir, I believe we're witnessing a genetic resurrection event. A what? Through the feeds, I watch Dr. Chen reach Section F. The Kethvar have barricaded themselves in the main cargo bay. Emergency blast doors sealed. Reinforced titanium steel composite rated for micrometeor strikes. She places one small hand against the door's surface. The tiger places one massive paw beside it. The metal begins to glow. Not from heat. From something older than physics. Project Lazarus, sir. Classified human program. They were attempting to preserve extinct Terran fauna through symbiotic integration with volunteer hosts. You're telling me our botanist is what, possessed by a dead Earth animal? Dr. Chen whispers something I can't hear through the audio pickups. The tiger's head turns, listening with ears that evolved to track prey through forests that vanished centuries ago. The blast door purrs. Deep, thrumming vibrations that resonate through the station's superstructure like a living heartbeat. Not possessed, sir. Part nerd. The cellular integration preserved complete genetic memory, including behavioral patterns, hunting instincts, and what the project files refer to as species consciousness. In simple terms, analyst. The blast door begins to buckle. Not from external force. From something inside the metal itself awakening to possibilities beyond its manufactured purpose. She's not human anymore, sir. She's human plus. And, the plus remembers being the apex predator of an entire world. Inside the cargo bay, the Kethvar warriors have activated their emergency beacon. Standard distress protocol, immediate extraction, no questions asked. Their boarding ship should be responding. It doesn't. Through the hull-mounted sensors, I detect their vessel moving away from the station at maximum velocity. Even their ship recognizes a bigger predator. The cargo bay blast door folds open like flower petals. Titanium steel composite rated for meteor strikes, folded by small human hands that remember when matter listened to will instead of physics. Dr. Chen steps through the opening. The 3 Kethvar warriors huddle against the far wall, weapons forgotten. 2.5 meters of bioengineered killing machine reduced to cowering prey. Their scales have shifted to stress camouflage patterns. Their secondary hearts beat so rapidly I can detect the rhythms through deck vibrations. Please, the lead warrior manages. His voice box, modified for intimidation, produces only whispers. Please, we did not know. We will leave. No harm to your territory. Territory. Instinctive recognition. Predator protocol. Dr. Chen tilts her head with inhuman grace. The tiger regards the warriors like a house cat contemplating particularly pathetic mice. Too late for that, she says. Her voice carries harmonics that make my fur stand on end. You came here hunting. Now you know what it feels like to be prey. She takes a step forward. All three warriors flinch like she struck them. But, I'm not my partner, she continues, and, for a moment her voice returns to the gentle tones I remember from her file recordings. She would have killed you by now. Efficiently. Brutally. Because that's what tigers do. The tiger's head nods in agreement. Or disappointment. I study flowers, Dr. Chen says. Dead things, preserved in memory. I understand extinction. I know what it means when the last of something dies and the universe becomes smaller. She crouches before the lead warrior. Eye level. Human gesture translated through predator body language. Your species eliminated 47 civilizations in the last century, she whispers. Made them extinct. Turned living worlds into resource catalogs. How does it feel, knowing something bigger wants to do the same to you? The warrior's breathing patterns indicate full panic response. Prey behavior. His consciousness recognizes what his genetics can't process, he is no longer the hunter. We will never return, he manages. We will mark this territory as forbidden. No Kethvar ship will approach human space. Dr. Chen smiles. Still the gentle expression I recognize from her psychological profiles. The tiger smiles with her. Fangs like crystallized starlight. Good, they say together. Because next time, I might not be able to convince her to let you leave. She stands and walks away. Casual. Dismissive. The way apex predators treat creatures beneath notice. The Kethvar warriors remain frozen until she's gone. Then, they move with desperate efficiency toward their extraction point. No formation. No tactics. Just three trained killers fleeing something that makes their death-conditioned minds scream warnings older than civilization. I watch Dr. Chen return to her quarters. The tiger gradually submerges back into her skin until only the tattoo remains. Still beautiful. Still detailed. Still very much alive. She sits cross-legged on her bunk and carefully collects her scattered flower specimens. Each one placed with reverent precision. Marigolds for remembrance. Jasmine from lost monasteries. Apple blossoms from orchards that exist now only in genetic memory. Just like her partner. Station Command to Intelligence Division, Yeltas's voice cuts through my observations. Threat Assessment, Analyst. Are we secure? I watch Dr. Chen select a piece of pressed paper and begin writing in her careful handwriting. Her daily journal entry. The same routine she's maintained for 12 years. Secure, sir. The Kethvar have withdrawn. I believe they'll classify this sector as a permanent no-fly zone. And, our botanical specialist? Dr. Chen pauses in her writing and touches her shoulder blade. Gentle. Affectionate. The way someone might pat a beloved cat. The tattoo's eyes open briefly, golden and ancient, then close again. Sleeping tigers, dreaming tigers. When will you wake again? She's fine, sir. Just remembering things that should never be forgotten. End Part 3, next, Part 4, The Memory Garden and What Remains, Timeline, 2000 to 2347 Standard, Post-Incident Documentation. The paperwork is extensive. Kethvar Incident Report 2387.4 runs to 47 pages of technical analysis, biochemical readings, and security footage timecodes. Three departments want Dr. Chen transferred to specialized facilities. Military intelligence wants her debriefed. Xenobiology wants her studied. Medical wants her quarantined. I've been typing for 6 hours straight. My claws ache from the repetitive motion, but I can't stop. Can't find the words that capture what I witnessed. How do you document the resurrection of an extinct apex predator through human skin? How do you file a threat assessment for someone who isn't technically a threat but makes trained killers flee in terror? How do you write genetic memory made manifest in official terminology that won't get you assigned to psychiatric evaluation? The security footage doesn't help. Half the sensors couldn't process what they recorded. Thermal imaging shows human body temperatures. Motion detectors track one person-sized signature. Even the high-resolution cameras struggle with the visual distortion around Dr. Chen when her partner is active. It's like the universe itself has trouble accepting what it's seeing. Station Commander Yeltos appears at my workstation entrance. His bioluminescent patches flicker with exhaustion patterns. Analyst. Status report. I gesture at the documentation spread across my displays. 47 pages and counting, sir. 3 departments requesting transfer authorization. Medical recommends immediate containment protocols. And, your assessment? Through the security feed, I watch Dr. Chen in her quarters. She's returned to her flower cataloging routine. Each specimen receives careful attention. Measurements recorded in precise handwriting. Scientific notation that would make any botanical journal proud. Normal behavior. Completely normal. Except for the way she occasionally pauses to touch her shoulder blade, fingers tracing patterns only she can feel. Sir, I've studied human psychology for 12 cycles. Every behavioral pattern, every cultural variation, every psychological profile. Dr. Chen represents something we don't have classification parameters for. Yeltos settles into observation position. His secondary arms fold in the military posture that means, explain thoroughly. She's not hostile. The Kethvar initiated contact. Her response was defensive. Territorial. But proportional. Proportional? She terrified 3 Kethvar strike warriors into retreat. Without killing them, sir. A pure predator response would have resulted in casualties. Instead, she demonstrated superior threat capability and offered withdrawal terms. Sophisticated conflict resolution. I pause the security feed on Dr. Chen's face as she examines a pressed violet. Her expression is serene. Focused. The same concentration she brings to her research papers. She's still Dr. Sarah Chen. Still a xenobotanist who apologizes to furniture and sends flowers to her mother. The genetic integration doesn't replace her personality, it augments it. Augments it with an extinct Terran apex predator. Yes, sir. Yeltos's bioluminescence shifts to contemplation patterns. What does she want? The question I've been avoiding. I've read her personnel files, her research papers, her psychological evaluations. 12 cycles of human behavioral analysis distilled to one fundamental truth: to be left alone to study flowers, sir. That's it? That's it. Dr. Chen's humming drifts through the audio pickup. Ancient melodies in languages that barely exist anymore. Songs about sleeping tigers and vanished forests and memories preserved in amber. She represents something unique in the galaxy, I continue. A species that refuses to let extinction be permanent. They don't just preserve genetic codes in databases, they preserve them in living memory. In partnership. Partnership with what? I watch her reach back to touch her shoulder blade. The gesture is unconscious now. Natural as breathing. With everything they've lost. Yeltos processes this in silence. Military minds prefer clear threat assessments. Binary classifications. DR. Chen exists in the space between categories. Recommendations? Let her continue her research, sir. Station her in a secure facility where she can work undisturbed. Monitor for activation events, but don't interfere unless she requests assistance. And if other nations learn about Project Lazarus? If they attempt to replicate the genetic integration protocols? I think about the HFY warriors' terrorcent. The way their perfect killing machines broke and ran from something that challenged their most fundamental assumptions about the nature of predator and prey. Then, the galaxy becomes a more interesting place, sir. Yeltasa's patterns shift to amusement. Dark humor appreciated. Draft your report, analyst. Classification, eyes only. Distribution, need to know basis only. He turns to leave, then pauses. Personal assessment, is she dangerous? I watch Dr. Chen complete her journal entry. Her handwriting is unchanged. Still the careful script of someone who believes words have weight. She closes the journal and opens her flower collection again. Each specimen receives attention. Reverent care. The devotion of someone who understands that some things are irreplaceable. Only to things that hunt what shouldn't be hunted, sir. Yeltas nods and departs. I return to my documentation, but my attention keeps drifting to the security feed. Dr. Chen has laid out her entire collection. Hundreds of specimens representing Earth's lost biodiversity. Flowers from forests that exist only in genetic memory. Petals from gardens that vanished centuries ago. She touches her shoulder blade again, and this time I see the tattoo's response. A subtle shift in coloration. Like a living creature stretching in sleep. Soon, she whispers. Soon we'll have real gardens again. Through my advanced sensors, I detect something impossible, the chemical signature of growing plants in her quarters. But there's no soil. No water. No growing medium except memory. The pressed flowers aren't just specimens. They're seeds waiting for the right partner to remember them back to life. Dr. Sarah Chen isn't just preserving extinct Earth fauna. She's building an ark. I stop typing and access the classified Project Lazarus files with my highest security clearance. Cross-reference active subjects with current locations. The results make my bioluminescent patches flicker with recognition. Dr. Marcus Webb, Deep Space Archaeology. Tattoo, Terran Wolf. Status, active. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Xenogeology. Tattoo, Snow Leopard. Status, active. Dr. James Running Bear, Cultural Anthropology. Tattoo, North American Grizzly. Status, active. 47 names. 47 extinct Terran species. 47 human partners scattered across the galaxy in research positions. All of them collecting specimens. All of them humming ancient songs. All of them touching shoulder blades and whispering to creatures that refuse to stay extinct. The HFY incident wasn't an anomaly. It was a wake-up call. Through the security feed, Dr. Chen arranges her flowers in careful patterns. Sacred geometry. Biological mandala. The blueprint for something that hasn't existed for centuries but remembers exactly what it used to be. My claws tap against the console. Tap tap pause. Tap tap pause. I should file an emergency report. Recommend immediate investigation of all Project Lazarus subjects. Alert the authorities to the possibility of coordinated genetic resurrection events. Instead, I watch Dr. Sarah Chen tend her memory garden and hum lullabies to sleeping tigers. And I wonder what Earth was like when it was alive. End Part 4, Final Intelligence Assessment Subject, Dr. Sarah Chen. Classification, unique, no current threat categories apply. Recommendation, protective observation / non-interference protocol. Personal note, some extinctions aren't permanent. They're just sleeping. And, after 12 cycles of studying human behavioral patterns, I've learned their most dangerous trait isn't aggression or intelligence or adaptability. It's their absolute refusal to let go of things they love. Even when those things have claws. File archived, eyes only. Classification maintained, end record.